also proprietor of East African School of Taxation, and he's going to be enlightening and educating us on those economic heroes that we can celebrate. Not that we can always have those who are in combat and that always we celebrate, but we can also look, because we believe that even if we fight, even if we struggle for how long, when our economy is not making any steps or is not making any progress, those struggles and efforts, we may not benefit from them. Welcome on the show, Professor John Francis.
Thank you very much.
We also have Dr. Christopher Wanga, who is the head of research and ideology coming from Uganda People's Congress. He has seen it all from many governments. He has served in several governments. He has had experience from across the region and the continent of Africa. I would love to know from him, how heroes are supposed to be celebrated? Are we embracing their efforts and their struggles? If they came back like people can come back, can they be happy of what they sacrificed for? Have we really walked their walk? Welcome on the show, Dr. Christopher Wanga.
Thanks very much, Comrade Amani Butega, and greetings from UPC Party President, UPC Fraternity at Uganda House, UPC Fraternity in the country, UPC Fraternity in East Africa, Africa, and in the diaspora. They are tuned in and they are enjoying this sort of program, though they have challenges with the topic.
Interesting.
Yes.
We're going to know so much about the topic and how they find it challenging in our topic today. Interesting. We're also expecting to have Colonel Dewo Akiki, who is the Deputy Defense Spokesperson of Uganda People's Defense Forces, who will be joining us shortly. And we're also expecting Osborne Toria Singula, but unfortunately he will not be able to meet to come through. Is the coordinator Uganda Parliamentary Forum on Youth Affairs, who lost his father this very morning, and may his soul rest in eternal peace. Interesting, we are continuing with the discussion today on 5 radio stations. UBC Butebo in eastern Uganda. In Mbale, we are 96.9 FM. In Soroti, we are 98.4 FM. In case you are in Arua, we are also UBC Radio reaches there on 97.4 FM. If you are in Lida, we are 99.4 FM. And we are also live and clear on another radio station, that is UBC Magic, which is on 100 FM in all parts of the central parts of the country. And we also live and clear on West Nile Radio in Arua, covering all of the sub-regions around. And we also on UBC Voice of Mundabojo. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Just put UBC Radio and you'll be part of UBC Ground Zero today's edition. Ampaide Aman Ortega is my name, and we've had the guests in that I have in the studios. Let me start with you, Luanga. Now that you have put a very serious concern that some people are part of us, but they are not comfortable with that topic, yet this topic happens to be the theme of our national celebrations for the Heroes Day 2024, which is going to be on Sunday next week. Hail Our Heroes, a secure Uganda is now a reality.
Thanks, Comrade Amani Butega, for giving me this opportunity to kick off the ball. We are bringing in our heroes, and the exploits of our heroes are supposed to drive us to securing a bright future for everyone in Uganda. However, we must ask, how many sets of heroes have we had before? Okay. It is good that June 3rd is just around the corner on Monday. We have had those martyrs as our heroes. They stood for their religion. They stood for their religious beliefs. But if I'm a traditionalist defending Mwanga, I would see it in another perspective. But that is besides the point. Our Mwanga, our Kabalega, who put up a strong fight, they qualify to be heroes against the intrusion of colonial administration. And indeed, we have had a lot of experience of naming several places out of Kabalega and out of Mwanga. And I think recently there was a national sort of workshop or theme which was organized in favor of Kabalega to understand the real Kabalega and his heroism. That phase passed of primary resistors were our heroes. Then we came to the independence and the decolonization struggle heroes. Of course, you can't leave out Musaz and his team, and you can't take away the limelight of Bendicto, DP, Obote, and UPC, King Freddy, and KY, because they are the people who delivered the independence. And I think it was more difficult to fight for the independence from a strong colonial master. To push him against the wall and he concedes and delivers you power, it is another serious achievement. So the heroes, all who are our founding fathers and founding mothers, they had benchmarks. And these benchmarks meant total unity for all of us, total prosperity for all of us, improved welfare, improved the way of life, way of living, fighting ignorance, fighting poverty, fighting diseases. And of course, making it possible to move from one place to another place, but living in a harmonious relationship. Unfortunately, history may judge harshly our people who navigated that journey, because wherever they are judging them, they don't want to explain what they inherited. Uganda was essentially modeled on the British colonial policy, which was known as indirect rule. The practicability of indirect rule policy up to now is disturbing Ugandans to understand it and to appreciate it and to know how to overcome it. If you are a Muganda found in the Buganda kingdom, you are supposed to have lived like that in your indirect rule policy. If you are a Muchiga in Chigezi, stay that side. If you are a Mutoro in Toro, stay that side, cultivate your language. There is no need of knowing the language of your neighbor. And there is even no need to marry from your neighbor's area or what have you. So by the time we got independence, we are more divided than united, because we had lived under our own units and the Brits reinforced those units. So when we now went for Lancaster, we are trying to see how we can live together. And this happened on 9th October 1962. But it did not take away the historical challenges which we had faced. And some of those historical challenges were directly made constitutional requirement. For instance, the issue of lost counties was put in the constitution that not more than 2 years after your independence, you people, you are going to have a referendum where you will ask our members in those disputed counties whether they want to be independent of Buganda and Bunyoro, or they want to rejoin Bunyoro, or they want to remain in Buganda. And when now the details came for implementation of the implementation of the referendum, challenges now erupted. Buganda Kingdom was worried of the referendum. And the fear why they were worried for the referendum, it was understandable. Because the history of Buganda from 2 counties to 20 counties, Buganda Kingdom had never lost land. So if it is your term to serve Buganda and they lose land through a referendum, you can feel dejected. And indeed, Michael Chintu's government collapsed when the results of the referendum were announced. So that was a great constitutional test. And after overcoming that great constitutional test, things did not stay normal. The government in Mengo collapsed, and there was a desire for Mengo to reverse whatever may have happened. And this is how we are entering the 1966 crisis, and which crisis now became very serious because now Buganda came out very boldly with a resolution telling the central government to vacate Entebbe and to vacate Kampala, which ultimately means secessionism. Okay, so to handle that crisis and to pass through that crisis, like it or not, it requires elements of heroism. Elements of heroism, because Uganda now was on the verge of breaking up. If you can pick it up and it doesn't break it up, let it be. Okay, so those are sort of challenges which we are now going to have, and they affected the entire journey we are supposed to have moved right from the Independence Day to the subsequent periods. Other issues now which came in, indeed now appealed more to how you can reverse the situation. And indeed on 25th January 1971, there was a coup of Idi Amin. And with that coup, Ugandans with a vision, Ugandans with the determination of heroism came up and decided to reverse. But it took them a solid 9 years to reverse. Now, where I can fault Ugandans, when you have overcome the challenge of Idi Amin, why don't you settle down with your heroism? Why don't you come together and you say, this is another opportunity God has given us? Either he has delivered it through Mosh Conference or through with our brothers, the Tanzanians. Let us forge ahead. But unfortunately, you find that Uganda was at the crossroads again. And this crossroads now, it is an embodiment of the new, the second string of heroism, okay? Where now we were involved in a civil war from 1981 to 86.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes.
I will come back to you. We have been joined by Kano Dewo Akiki, the defense spokesperson, deputy defense spokesperson of Uganda People's Defense Forces, and also Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs. Welcome on the show of Handy.
Thank you, Amon. Thank you, Doctor, for holding forth. And I greet our listeners out there. You know, I stayed in Namugongo, and living in Namugongo because of the religious heroes is just a nightmare. So I apologize for delaying on the show.
Interesting. It's okay. We take it. I'm going to come back to you and give us a preamble of what you think the Heroes Day really mean to you and to the institution of UPDF and the ministry. Allow me to come back to you, Professor Achan. Heroes. When you hear the word heroes, what really comes into your mind? And as a social anthropologist, is there any approach in social anthropology when it comes to heroes? But also you have a background of economics. I believe that you are a proprietor of the School of Taxation, East African School of Taxation. You are Vice Chancellor of Kenton University. With that background, you'll help us to really understand those economic heroes. Because when we mention of the heroes, people think of the Kano Akikis who are always in combat. Do we have economic heroes for those who have made a very significant contribution towards the progress and development of Uganda as a country?
Amon, thank you very much. First of all, I need to thank you very, very much because this topic we are going to handle, it is a fundamental topic. And when somebody talk about the hero, I think we should know very well that there are categories of heroes. We have the heroes which is supposed to take place on 9th June. We have heroes which is supposed to take place on 3rd June. Now, if we are talking about heroes, we should be very clear because each hero has the ideology. Now, more of understanding of heroes before we proceed. What is hero? Hero, we normally celebrate the legacy. We celebrate the legacy and the objective of the struggle. And you find that it is very, very, very important that when we come out to talk about the hero, we really think that we should remember the people who shed their blood to achieve certain things. That's why I need to thank you, Amon, to invite me to come and talk here. And not only that, we need to actually to thank our President Museveni, because I really think Museveni think those who died, they are still with him. And one of the things which I want to make it very clear to the listener and those who are listening us, what are the legacy we are celebrating and why are we talking about the hero? Because we know that the hero, when they die, they left the legacy which are supposed to follow. So we have three aspects of leadership. One, we talk about the clear-headed leadership. Two, we talk about the broad-based government. Three, we talk about fundamental change. Now, when we talk about clear-headed leadership, what do we mean? Because we are talking at the angle of social anthropology to make our people understand that those who die, they did not die for nothing. They die and they left something behind. And those are the things I'm going to explain to you. So when we talk about clear-headed leadership, what do we focus there? Definitely, the hero whom we are celebrating, they know very well that when we talk about clear-headed leadership, what do we focus? One, we focus about the administration skills. Two, we focus about research skills. Three, we talk about planning skills. Four, we talk about supervision skills. The fifth one, we talk about speaking skills. So our hero, when they start the struggle, we know that somebody will take from them. Does he has those skills to lead? Because he knows very well that we who are carried out their legacy, do we have that administration skills? Do we have that research skills? Do we have that planning skills? And do we have that supervision skills? And do we have that speaking skills? So that's what we call clear-headed leadership. Two, we talk about the broad-based government. And when we talk about the broad-based government, what does it mean? Because as I told you, we need to separate the hero. We have the hero for June 2004. Then we have the 3rd June. The 3rd June is on faith. The 3rd June is mainly based on faith. But the 9th June is based on the struggle of fundamental change for leadership. So that's why when we talk about the broad-based government, what do we mean? We need to know very well that what is a broad base. So I believe most people did not understand NRM ideology. That's why it is high time we people who do anthropology, we must put some light. What we are talking about the broad-based government is that we have to embrace all the parties to form a government. And that's why UPC should come in government, NRM should come to government, DP should come to government, CP to come to government. But what makes us Ugandans not to understand is that we, when we are dealing with politics, there are two things Uganda don't understand. People know about politics, but they don't know about administration. And that's why it is very necessary Uganda also know what administration is. Because you find that the majority of Uganda, when he's a member of UPC, DP, CP, after the successful election, because election or politics is like a game, like a football team. You find we are supposed to elect the crane. The crane supposed to come and play. But you cannot select crane from national team. You have to come down and select the what? Okay. The crane. Okay. So, as I talk, you find that it is very necessary that we need to, first of all, to make these people understand that after politics is over, we now go for the objective of the struggle. Okay. And not only that, Amon, I think I beg you just for a few minutes. Because I told you.
1 minute, Professor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I beg you, as I told you, there are three aspects of the legacy we are looking at. I talk about the clear-headed leadership. I talk about the fundamental. I talk about the clear-headed leadership. I talk about the broad-based government. But now I need to talk about the fundamental, just briefly. And that's why I beg you. Under the fundamental change of government, I think NRM struggle were looking at infrastructure. And I think you agree with me when you look at the issue of fundamental, the infrastructure like roads, schools, hospitals, and other areas has been worked on very well. Me, I come from Kitgum, Pade. We never had a tarmac road, but now we have a tarmac road. We never had electricity. It was a nightmare, but now we have electricity. Not only that, there are certain things which is just like a nightmare. Soon you find that the whole village is changing to Mabati, which it was not there. We have been having a grass thatch house. And some of these things, when you talk, it becomes like what? A nightmare. Then another area which is very important, the middle income, which you have heard the president was talking about. Because the problem is knowledge. Our problem here is knowledge. Because majority of people don't understand what is the middle income. And I think what the president is trying to bring out is the program of PMD,
PDM.
PDM. Paris Development Model.
Yes.
Then we have SACO. Then we have Enyoga. And I think the problem here is that we wanted to change people to understand. Leave subsistence farming, we go to commercial farming. And that's the ideology.
Okay.
And not only that, where we are now going to make it understand very clear is that we have a role to play. Ugandans must know the difference between politics and administration. That's where the problem is. So, Amon, I will come back later.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. We have Kano Dewa Kiki, and having you to represent the institution of UPDF and the Ministry of Defense is a very great and unique opportunity to dive into the various aspects of the day's significance. I believe that we're going to celebrate the Heroes' Day next Sunday. Would love to know about the military's role and the broader implications of the national unity and patriotism. Of course, when we talk about the heroes, we cannot fail to bring in the significance of patriotism. If you can help us understand, under Reboreta Fande, the historical significance of Heroes' Day in Uganda.
Thank you very much, Amon. Definitely, Heroes' Day is very significant in the history of our country, because we are a country which has gone through quite a lot, and a lot of people have sacrificed to make sure we are where we are. If you go to define who a hero is, you'll find somebody who should be admired, somebody who should be knowledgeable, somebody who had the courage and outstanding achievement to answer a noble question, or has these noble qualities. And definitely our people who have brought Uganda where it is today have qualified to be heroes because of these characteristics. And we thank God that this coming week is going to be a week of heroism in Uganda, both being a Heroes Day and also Uganda Matters Day on the religious side of it. And at the same time, on the military side, we have had our own spate of heroes who have contributed enormously to make sure that this country is where it is today. And all of these people, if you look around, you'll find that the issue or the nationalistic and patriotic elements are involved, both the religious heroes, military heroes, and other types of heroes. I heard Professor and you talking about economic heroes and other categories of heroes that exist. And therefore, as a country, it calls or it invites us to really take issues of patriotism, nationalism, and to add on Pan-Africanism. Because sometimes being a hero here in Uganda, there is a way it affects being an African hero. And we have had quite a lot of attachments to some of our African heroes, the likes of Nelson Mandela, the likes of the religious heroes like Okello, and others, from which other people are learning, from which other people are following their footsteps to achieve and contribute to growth and development of their country. Because at the end of the day, heroism should result into growth and development of a society. And therefore, in the perspective of the military, I think the contribution of our heroes, that I don't need to break names one by one. Those before the NRA, before independence, after independence, those who participated in the NRA struggle, the 27 and others, or the 41, and those who are dead and the living, they have done quite a lot to contribute where Uganda is. And I think that is the focus or the lens through which we should be understanding Heroes Day or heroism.
Is there in any way how Heroes Day can ignite and drive the citizens into one direction of serving and moving together, developing together as a country, or it has remained so much into the forces?
Definitely it should be driving us as a country, and I think up to some point there was no time when Uganda was united like it was after the sacrifices made by the military heroes. In this case, after especially the NRA struggle and later on the UPDF and where we are today. And that's why you can see that from the time when we had quite a lot of ups and downs, we are having coups after the other, and from the time after 1986 and to date, there has been kind of stability and unity of around a common purpose of taking the country ahead, of being together as Ugandans, of focusing on how we move this country together as a unity. Meaning that the contribution of these acts of heroism has brought togetherness, has brought development, has brought the entire Ugandan people to move together. And that is a good attribute that came from the sacrifices of our military heroes and probably other heroes, as Professor was explaining.
Interesting. Thank you, Afande Yakiki. Our dear listener from the other side of radio, we are on 5 radio stations covering entire Uganda, and we have a very special team of guests in the studios of UBC. We are learning a lot really about Heroes Day, which is going to be on 9th June 2024, which is going to be next Sunday. And in case you want to participate or raise any concern or share your perspective, call us on 776-511-426 is the number you can call. But later on in our second part of this edition is when I'm going to be picking these calls. And you can as well send your messages on 0701 24 26 47. The call number is 0776 511 426. Allow me get back to you, Dr. Luanga, about the same. At least you've expounded on why some people didn't really take in our theme. But I would love to see how the Heroes Day can contribute to the national unity, especially considering the political diversity in the country. Do you think all the political parties, the political figures, individuals, and platforms have been incorporated in this what we call patriotism and heroism in this country?
Thanks, Comrade Amani Butega, for throwing me that question, which I think borders on whether we have resolved our political question. Okay? Yes, I would love to appreciate our brothers in the forces who were assigned, all who came up with that role that they must do ABCD in the struggles. However, society being a society, and I'm happy that we have an anthropologist here, questions at times can be asked. Do always military solutions solve a political question? All political questions of the day? You will find that when you go deeper into that, you may reach a watershed, a military solution to a military problem, a political solution to a political problem. When you mix up the two, or when you mess up the two, the end product may not be a good one. So, whatever you are trying to ask me goes back to the basic fundamental question that indeed the day we are celebrating is attached to Rutamaguzi, which is the other name, and others who died at Chikandwa. And their death is a part of their commitment to help the fighters to take on a government which had been elected in what is refers to as the disputed elections of 10th December 1980. When you take it at that level, you may ask, was the military solution the only one? If you are a medical doctor, diagnosed as the fundamental answer to the rigging of the elections of 10th December 1980, you are going to find that election issues are normally political, constitutional issues, which have another forum where they can be addressed. And it may not be a forum of a military approach. Even when you have gone for a military approach, at a certain point, you will be requested that can you now start bringing in a political approach. Yes, you have achieved militarily, you have captured Kampala on 26 January 1986. How are you going to move next? How are you going to move next? We see Lego Notes number 1 of 1986. Which Lego Notes number 1 of 1986 is telling Mr. Luanga and Uganda People's Congress that please remain confined at Uganda House which is the party headquarter. And don't come out. DP also remain where you are. CP remain where you are. National Liberal Party of Teberi Yokenyi remain where you are. And make sure that you don't create any more new political organization, because we have frozen political activities. Now, when such a situation comes up in the country, you know that politics has been frozen. And when politics has been frozen, if you break it academically or even politically, it is your voice which has been stopped. That your voice today should stop here temporarily, and we sort out ourselves later. Yet you find that when a government is in power now, it is supposed to take decisions and actions which would have required your input. But you don't have now that chance as UPC, as DP, as CP to give the input. Okay? I don't know whether we are together. We are opening the same page on that. Okay. Now, as that situation goes in, they start demanding you, when are you bringing back our rights? And you say, no, the rights will come, let us write the constitution. And everybody now gets focused that a constitution is being written. The date is supposed to be rolled out. That was, I think, in 1995 at Constitutional Square, there, State Square. We get discouraged with an article which is 269. And that article 269 is telling me, don't operate a branch of UPC in any village in Uganda. Similarly, DP, similarly what? And don't hold any delegates conference, which is a Supreme Party organ, to discuss any of the programs in place or any of your ideas.
Dr. Luanga.
Yes.
Looking into that and taking a serious concern on our topic today,
Yes.
Hail to our heroes, a secured Uganda is now reality.
Yes.
We're talking about the reality
Yes.
of our heroes today. And I would love to put this to you. How our heroes have been made more inclusive to reflect on the contributions of the opposition members. You come from the opposition party, and I would love to see those contributions of the opposition members to Uganda's historical and development of today.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that our heroes, whether in the military, whether in the government, grudgingly, they have developed a listening ear. And there I give them a very big credit. Okay? From 1986 to 2005, we opened up political party. They gave me my freedom. That's why I'm in the studio here, putting on a UPC cap and putting on an Akena t-shirt. Okay? But it delayed to come. I wish it had come with them in 1986. All the same, they have given it to me. It is a big credit now. I can talk, I can articulate an issue as a DP. I can articulate an issue as a NUP. I can articulate an issue as a UPC. And
with someone in uniform in the studio.
Yes. Okay. you get it. Wonderful. As you have added it. We can articulate those positions. Okay. Now the heroes have given us the tools to think through our challenges, to think through our aspirations, to think through of where we can be. Okay, this is how now we are reminding them that much as now you have the freedom, we are finding it hard to survive. We are finding it hard to send our children to school. We are finding it hard to have 3 meals a day. We are finding it hard to look for firewood and charcoal. Bring us more electricity. Bring us other forms of power, okay? So, now the platform has been opened. You cannot now put this challenge to them. The challenge is now to us. It is now for them to talk the sweeter words which are encouraging. It is now for them to interpret their struggle, that when we are in the bush, we persevered like this. Now we are on the land. We are in the freedom. Let us do A, B, C, D to achieve this.
So you do believe that the Heroes' Day celebrations adequately represent the contribution of all Ugandans, including those from opposition movements?
What I can say, if I am to commit myself, we aspire for better. We work towards the better, for betterment. Okay, it is a goal. It is a challenge they have put forward. Okay, if the 27 went to the bush and managed to mobilize others, why don't we mobilize ourselves to handle our issues? Why don't we mobilize ourselves to handle our issues? When are we going to come out with that firebrand patriotism and nationalism they anticipated in the bush? Because this morning I've been reading a lot of the literature from NRM, and I realized that the ideal NRM imagined too much. And they were even faulting our founding father that he had not done much. Okay, this is Dr. Apple Milton Obote and UPC. Okay, if they had even that moral courage before they took over power to say, no, UPC here, you have not done well. Obote here, you have not done well. You have not done well. You have not done well. In the same measure, I have a right to stand up and I say, you people, here also you have not done well. You are supposed to have done better. I think your question goes more in the degree of dialogue. The more we dialogue, the better for the country.
Interesting.
Yes.
Professor Achan, are we living, are we realizing, are we walking the talk of the heroes? Have we in any way kept and embraced their legacies?
Yeah, thank you very much, Amon. That's why, as I told you, in our observation as a social anthropology, we identified three things in the heroes of NRM. One, we observe of clear leadership, which is the prevailing. Two, we observe broad-based government, which is also prevailing. We also observe fundamental change.
And that's why I ask, what ways can those legacies of the heroes be leveraged to inspire the future generations of this country?
Yeah, that's why, as I told you, it needs a lot of awareness and it needs a lot of education. As I told you, our challenge in Uganda as a whole, there is a difference which Uganda many don't know, politics and administration. And that's why when we come on the broad-based system of government, you find that when we go for election, and when the election is over, you find all party has their own manifesto. UPC has their manifesto, DP has their manifesto. But what normally takes place, which is very, very, very clear, is that if UPC is being elected as an NRM, you find that when UPC is being elected as a member of parliament of a certain constituency, then you find that the district leaders is being elected maybe NUP, then the councillors is being elected as the CP. The problem is coordination. You find that most of the opposition, their ideology is that the other government which took power, for example like NRM, they have their manifesto for you to implement. But you find that opposition normally believe that they also have their same manifesto to implement. That's why you find there's a conflict of interest in implementing government program, whereby I normally appeal to government that when the election is over, they need a workshop for those categories. Because you find an MP is NRM, district chairman, no, the councillor is CP. So that type of category, you find each one is fighting to see that the government which is in power should not succeed in its program, which is wrong. And that's why it is as I told you, that there is a conflict between sociology and anthropology. There is a conflict between administration and politics. And that thing, I think, is lack of matureness. Because you find that NRM, when take over power, UP should work together with NRM.
Does the concept of heroism vary across different cultures and societies, especially when it comes to Uganda?
Yeah, because we need to implement the legacy. The legacy of the heroes. You see, the main thing which people don't know, those who shed their blood has left behind their legacy. And one of their legacy, as I told you, it is those three things I've mentioned. The clear leadership of the clear-headed leadership, broad-based and fundamental. And that's why it is very, very important that we must go more of civil education to explain our younger children to know the difference of the leadership which we are having. Because right now you find, for example, NOOB. The majority of NOOB, they only know the program is money, but not knowledge. Majority of politics here is money. There's no knowledge there. There's no saying that
they don't have any ideology.
They don't have ideology. The ideology is money.
They want to earn.
What they're saying, if you have money, you are a winner. That's the politics of Uganda. Okay. That's why you find that we need to make a transformation of the ideology.
Does that cross to all the other political parties, or you have identified that only in NOOB?
No, it is across the old parties. Because you find a person who is going to stand.
Even UPC.
Even in UPC.
Even NRM.
NRM. The problem is, does he has 5 things? Let me give you very clear. In leadership, we need 5 things like your hand. 1, does the person have a skill of administration? 2, does the person have a skill of research? 3, does the person have a skill of planning? 4, does the person have a skill of supervision? 5, does that person have a skill of speaking? For us, we just elect people without those skills. To be honest with you, that's why we are making a lot of mistakes. Because our leaders must have five qualities of leadership, which I've mentioned. Because you see, when somebody has now become a leader, government has a project. We have school project, we have road project, we have this one. So if you don't have a skill of supervising, how do you do it? If you don't have a skill of planning, how do you do it? If you don't have a skill of administration, how do you do it? That's why my brother here, I advise him that when you are choosing leaders to come to leadership, does he has that 5 skills of leadership? Because for us, we normally choose people because of money. Our main aspect of leadership in Uganda is what? Money.
Okay.
If you have money, you are a winner. If you don't have money, you are a loser.
From your research as well, what are some of the common traits and characteristics attributed to heroes in Ugandan society? But in the same, I would love to know how can academia contribute to a deeper understanding and appreciation of Ugandan heroes and their legacies, as I go for a break.
Yeah, I think one of the areas, as you have asked, as I've told you, those who shed their blood, they did not shed for nothing. They shed for a cause. And when you talk of the deeper understanding of how people should understand, that one goes to education. We need to go for civil education to explain what are the legacy. Because if I explain you, many people don't know the legacy of hero. Because now as we are talking here with you, many who have not heard what I've talked about the legacy of hero, they may not know what are those legacy. And that's why I want to bring to your attention that the legacy of what we are celebrating, number 1, we should promote clear-headed leadership. 2, we must promote a broad-based government. 3, we must promote fundamental change. That's why you find a friend of mine from UPC, is feeling that why does army come in to hijack politics? They come in to hijack because you have failed to implement these things. Because these things of ours, of clear leadership, army has a right to do it. Because when they say there is no proper leadership in the government, I think army should come in and put things right. If they see that there is no, because like as I talk now, if you politics, as I told you, in our area there, you find that the MP is a NOOB. The chairman district is NRM. Councillor is DP. Now, if you people fail to work, who will come in to protect the government? That's why army come in and take over. They say, you first organize, just say, we shall give you a power. And that's why I'm very grateful for my brother here to come and join us. It was a rare time to be with the army with a uniform. And I think what people don't know is that let us move away from sociology. We come to anthropology.
Interesting. Thank you, Professor. Before I go for a break,
I needed to clarify one or two things from Professor Chan.
I can give you 5 seconds, sir.
Okay,
I need to bring I need to bring
thanks very much.
Afanda Kikibi, and I go for a break.
It seems the professor does not know our manifesto, which drives UPC and is derived from UNC.
Are you in any way answering his concern about you working for money?
Yes. We relentlessly wage a war against poverty, ignorance, and disease. And when you are fighting against poverty, you are generating wealth, you are generating income, you are generating money. And because of this, we designed the UPC with an economic wing, which is known as Milton Obote Foundation. At its peak, it had 9 subsidiary companies, and Uganda House is one of the subsidiary company. So we are generating resources to enable us achieve the aims and objectives.
You don't work for money.
Of UPC.
Interesting.
And those objectives needed human and financial resources. So when we gun to fight for poverty and raise money, we are in this context.
Afande Deo, many of the youth in this country who contributed to more than 70%, we happen to be the youngest population in Africa and the whole world. But the youth seem to have not yet appreciated or taken in or embraced the heroes than any other. So in the institution of UPDF, what are some of the initiatives that are in place to educate and engage the youth about the importance of Heroes Day and the sacrifices made by the past heroes?
Thank you. And we don't blame the youth. I don't have research. My professors here could have done research about the answer to that question. But if at all that our youth do not appreciate and understand the issues of heroes, then we bring it back to us as leaders and as their seniors and everybody in Uganda who is a leader, because our role is to educate our youth about such issues of national importance. You know, sometimes we call some issues of national importance without looking at the strategic end state. Because if a country has 70% as the youth, where are you focusing? Where are these youth going to be in the next 30 or so years? And therefore, that's why us as the military, and I think as a government, there is a push to have something called the national service, like it is done in several other countries. In several countries, national service has become part and parcel of policies of government, whereby the youth, after a certain level of education, they have to undergo. They undergo some ideological orientations, like what is being done in Kyankwanzi and at our own Oliver Tambo Leadership School in Kaweweta, so that these young people are given a clear picture of what such things like heroes mean. But if we don't have, or if we have not provided as government enough to make sure the youth understand these issues, then we are to blame. But what I know is there is a lot being done to make sure that the youth understand not only issues of heroism, but many other national issues. And the only thing that I would recommend that we need, especially from the Parliament of Uganda and from other leaders and opinion leaders, because when we come out and talk about such issues here, this is where the Parliament picks from. This is where other people pick from, and the issues are supported to be brought on floor of Parliament and legalized and implemented. Therefore, I would answer your question by saying that the only solution to this can be startup or putting up national service, so that every level of education a young man finishes, he must first go to the national service for 1 year or 2 years, like it is in other countries. By the time he comes back, assuming he goes there after senior 6.
Is it in Egypt? I think it has
several
worked.
Countries.
It
In
has
Egypt,
worked
in
very
South
well
Africa, just down here in Tanzania.
Even Tanzania does that?
Yes, there are several countries which have national service, and it has been of a lot of significance. That's why you see some countries like Tanzania, their way of doing things is different, because they are grounded right from the beginning. The only unfortunate part with our country, because we emerged from somewhere, sometimes our politics has taken us to some direction that we shouldn't have been. Because I remember there was something called Mchaka Mchaka. Mchaka Mchaka was almost heading to national service, because some of the things that were done at that time, it was a kind of a build-up to, by now it would have matured to a national service, and with better curriculum and how it is conducted. Chiankwanzi is there, yes, but Chiankwanzi has it's a leadership school, so it is targeting mostly, you find the people who are already mature and are already leaders who go there. But we need a national service which is deliberate. Somebody finishes senior 6, he goes for national service for 1 year before he goes to university, where he's going to be imparted into a lot of information, some of which can actually be irrelevant, or some of it that can easily be misunderstood. I know at the university we don't teach things that are irrelevant, but if somebody is not mentored well, he can end up diverting. Because we all know our system of education. Up to now, we are still struggling to change some of the things that are colonial in nature and that have not really shown us a direction as Ugandans, as Africans.
On this day that we call Heroes Day is always attributed to the institution of UPDF and the Ministry of Defense, but on this day as we celebrate, looking at your progress and achievements, what are some of the key achievements of UPDF in maintaining peace and security, especially in Uganda and the region? And I take a break.
First of all, I want to rule out that it should be seen as a UPDF day. Much as contemporary history of Uganda shows UPDF, puts UPDF forward, but this is the day which surely should be looking at all Ugandans and heroes right before independence, after independence, and after 1986 liberation struggles. And that's why you see the awards committee, or the head of the chancellery, those who are involved in medals. You have seen several times that medals are now being given to several civilians. I have seen several civilians putting on their medals, and sometimes you find actually there are very few military people getting medals of heroism than the civilians, because they played a role that actually catapulted the military to do what they did. So, but as UPDF, we can say that our constitutional obligations that we are able to execute, the mandate that the Constitution gives us, has been enabled by the works of the heroes of Uganda. And I don't want to tie myself, as I said, to only military heroes, much as they contributed a bigger part, but to all other heroes that are deemed to be heroes in this country. So the achievements that we are having as UPDF shouldn't be put on UPDF as UPDF, but as all the people of Uganda who played a role. Because our focus and our strategic ally in everything we do as the institution of UPDF is hinged on the support of the people. And that's why we call Uganda People's Defense Forces. That word people was very deliberate. It didn't simply come there like that, and it is where we guide all our actions. If anything is against the people, and you're serving in UPDF doing something against the people, then you know you're wrong. And that's why we keep on in all our ideological orientations, keeping our soldiers focused on people first.
Okay. Thank you. Kano Doc Dewa Kiki. Oh, yes.
Equally, might want to supplement also.
Okay. I am giving you 1 minute each as I go for a break.
Okay.
Mm.
First of all, as the spokesman of defense was talking, I think maybe there is something maybe he was not knowing very well, that the State House controller has taken over the responsibility of making youth understand the legacy, because I understand that every month or every week you find that children are being trained of skilling. Skilling program is going on, and even as at university we have been informed that vocation trainings, which has already started. And when you asked the question the youth about the legacy, it has been covered, because the State House has taken over.
Okay.
And I have seen more training has been going on in every district. That's what I want to say.
Thank you, Professor. Dr. Ranga, in also a minute.
Yes, I just want to make a rejoinder to what the Army Deputy Spokesperson Kanodo has hinted on slightly, but it has touched my mind. It was in 1969, precisely 9th December, when we launched the Common Man's Charter. And the Common Man's Charter had an instrument for national service. And it is from this Common Man's Charter and the national service, which was document number 2, where we went ahead to operationalize, to have 4 main centers of national service. And one of them is the current day Chankwanzi. Okay? And from there, we had said that all those going for higher institutions of learning, they will have to first pass through the 4 regional centers. One was supposed to be in the north, another one in the west, another one in the east, and then the Chankwanzi. And since we are interested in the philosophy of self-reliance, we made sure that they are near strategic sources of water and plenty of land to cultivate, such that they can get that concept of standing on their own in food production. We did not just leave it at that small level. We even created a Ministry of National Service. And the Anyoti Senior, the father of the late Minister Anyoti, who was in charge of information and national guidance during Obote II, was made a Minister of National Service. At the same time also, we felt that the youth should express themselves from national service, and we created what we called NUYO. That is, when you have left school, you can still have an arrangement of a youth organization which is ideological, which is involving in production, and which integrates Uganda. On top of that, we felt that youth in the secondary schools should have an umbrella they belong, and this is NUSU, which produced the Rugundas of this world, the Mafabis of this world. So I would compliment, and I say that Conro, please, you can go back into our vision on how we had intended to do this thing. Then other national services were supposed to be at a constituency level, because Uganda by that time was earmarked 120 constituencies to capture those who have fallen, those who have dropped out of school, also to have that touch. Okay. This is how now you can imitate Tanzania, you can imitate Zambia, and this concept was developed very well by the Mulungushi Club. Okay, thanks very much.
Welcome, Doctor, and we are taking a very short break. When I return, I'll be reading your messages. Keep them coming through. I can see many are already here. Simon Peter Kagaba, Gerard Ndaula, Emaso, Nkololo, and many others. Keep them coming through on 0701 24 26 47, and I will be picking your calls on 0776 511 426. 0776 511 426 is the number you can call. After the very short break, and I'll be picking your calls. We are talking about Heroes Day. I'm coming back in just a bit. I pray you don't go away.
National Heroes Day of Uganda takes place on 9th June every year to commemorate the brave people who laid down their lives during the Uganda Bush War that took place between 1981 and 1986. This year, the 35th Heroes Day will be commemorated under the theme, Hail Our Heroes, a secure Uganda is now reality. On Sunday 9th June 2024, all roads will lead to Mpenja Church of Uganda Primary School playgrounds, Mpenja Sub-County in Gomba District. Join us to witness heroes from different parts of the country receive medals to recognize their contributions to the betterment of Uganda from His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who will be the chief guest on National Heroes Day. UBC Radio and all our broadcast networks will broadcast the event live. Happy Heroes Day. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
UBC Radio. We are live on 5 radio stations: UBC Bondabujo, Voice of Bondabujo, UBC Western Nile in Arua, UBC Magic 100 FM in Kampala, UBC Radio in Kampala, and Butebo Radio in Eastern Uganda. 776-511-426 is the number you can call, and you share your perspective, your concern, or any questions to my guest in the studios of UBC. We are talking about heroes. Hail our heroes. Secured future, secured Uganda is now reality. UBC Radio.
Hello.
You're live on UBC Ground Zero.
Yeah. This is Henry Baguma.
You're welcome, sir.
First of all, I appreciate the contributions and I appreciate the guests in the studio.
Right.
A very good material. However, I would like to observe that this Heroes Day, like most of these national days, have really become an issue of show-off, just a showcase and people go home. I have a suggestion that really some of these days, such a day, Heroes Day, is very, very important. Should be localized, should be decentralized. Let it come near to the people. We can have a national ceremony, for example, you can now going to have a national ceremony in Gomba, but then at the district level, at sub-county level, sometimes even at village level, let's get there. So that we celebrate, everybody sees the excitement, the what, the drumming, the what, the messages are given at faith to the local people so that we popularize them. Because as for now, most of these activities are really in hanging. Take example of Matters Day. Everybody is participating in Matters Day because the pilgrims are from churches, local churches, lowest levels of the Catholic and Anglican faith, lowest levels. Now, when you come to Christmas, the same case. But now when it comes to national days like this Heroes Day, which is very important to me, it should also be localized to that level. Can we have district chairpersons, sub-county people, parish model chairpersons coming up and participating at our local levels?
All right.
Then also we take it to schools, for example, churches. So because every institution has a hero to some point. Yeah, so let it be localized. They also include the professors, the doctors, the researchers to bring more information about these heroes. Then so that the whole country speaks one language. That is my contribution, Remain Henry Waguma.
Thank you so much, sir. Simon Peter Kagawa is listening in from Bunyangabo. Says my heroes are those that are those soldiers that are in Operation Shuja in DRC, maintaining peace in the region, but also taking peace to our brothers and sisters in DRC Congo. EBC Radio.
I'm on. This is Jima from Busega.
Welcome to EBC Ground Zero.
Greeting to all with you in the studio there.
All right. Your concern, sir?
Yeah. During political period campaign, why tear gas become number one weapon? Yet, at the end of the day, every year, you organize it for your Heroes Day. But do we realize that the effect which come and present those tear gas, pouring them on other non-partisan people, compensating them, giving them maybe what money, does it bring value for your citizens? Then what is the right time for sensitizing the citizens during and after campaign? Is it right for a military to be partisan? Then who is responsible for making sure military does not obstruct opposition from carrying out their businesses as a well-organized, registered political party? How many doctors who fought hard against pandemic like Ebola and COVID-19 today they are wearing a medal? Then you wait Heroes Day, you will see those are going to wear medal. Those are coming from all the uniform of with the coat of black, yellow, red.
Okay.
Service delivery is the key. Let's fight corruption, but the institution of government must be held responsibly. We have to have respect in all the offices.
Okay.
Let everyone to carry the responsibility. If I belong to Part A, stop there, be at Part A. There is a tendency of rotating, and yet the fairness is not being seen. Thank you very much.
Most welcome, and for your contributions. 776-511-426 is the number you can call and raise any concern to be addressed by my guest in the studios of UBC. Jelan Daula says a crime. I agree with Afande Dewa Kiki to have national service, especially considering the youth and being the majority in the country. But where did the crime preventers go? This was a good initiative to bring youth on board into this national service. UBC Ground Zero.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
A very good morning to you, sir.
You're speaking to Bernard Sony from Kwania.
Kwania.
Yes.
All right, sir.
There is a verse in the Bible said, people who have, they are going to hard for them. People who don't have, they are going to remove even that small one which you have, and they give to people who have. What am I meaning? In Uganda here, we are the ones spoiling. We always elect people who have things. Even if you are rich, even if you are rich, and you don't even talk anything, you don't have even those skills which my professor is talking about. If you have anything, they just take you. You can become a leader. And this one which you are living, this woman you are living, is having experience, is having everything, but we cannot even elect it. Now, another thing is, yes, Irisudens is coming. Most different parties always see us just like an NRM organizing to celebrate their party.
Okay, thank you.
But that one is not the right thing. Let us just combine, we bring those people together. Another thing is, I heard my professor was talking about that, the one, different parties. We might have, like in Kwania here, we have UPC is a chairman. Our MP is a NRM. You go down to the councillor there, UPC. So they always fight each and every time they fight. And everyone is doing the right
Why
thing.
are they fighting?
They always fight. Okay, let me say you are there. You always go to the parliament. If you go there, you are councillor with in the UPC. That one is not doing the right thing.
Okay.
It's not doing this and this, which is not good. Let us do work together. And even if you are a party and is already on the here,
Thank you, sir.
make sure your manifesto, which you talk, you implement it in a good way.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. So many messages coming through here. Someone says, I want to thank UPD for the great work done. At least we are secure and we can really enjoy the sacrifices and the efforts of those heroes. Someone says also, Masu, listen again from Kololo. Do we have enough capacity to train all the youth in the country in the name of national service? Okay. Someone says, this is on Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn says that Dr. Luanga should be happy sharing the same platform with the man in uniform. I don't think it was there in their government to have a man in uniform and opposition. Someone from opposition share the same microphone, share the same roof, and in the same platform. This is indeed an achievement of the heroes and the kudos to the NRM and the UPDF. Someone also says, I requested that Kano Deo Akiki explain more on what should be entitled in the national service he has talked about, and how best can this help Ugandans, because we have seen leaders after attaining the Chenkwan's courses, they come back and abuse government offices. And also the same person says, finally, to Kano Kiki, can he explain the general security situation ahead of Namugongo Matters Day, and also as we come to the Heroes Day celebrations on Sunday? Someone says we had your message is not clear. I pray you come back again. We had during UPC a soldier. It's not that clear. Keep your messages coming through on that very number 776511. I may get a few callers and they get back to the studios. Time is not on my side. UBC Ground Zero.
Gabriel Opwanya.
Gabriel.
First of all,
You are from where?
Kiburi.
Chiburi.
Kiburi.
Okay. Your concern, sir?
First of all, we should understand what is the meaning of that word hero. People are crying that like the doctors fought for corona, COVID, but the really hero is the one who fought for peace. And that's why we have peace in our country.
Okay.
So let us emphasize and we get to know what is the cause which is bringing all many cures in our country. At first, those heroes, corruption was not there, and they had patriotism. They really patriotism in their heart. That's why we were able to fight and they become the real heroes. And on top of that, there's no way we can remove corruption. We have very many demands, not like those days. You find that when you have money, one member in the studio say that when you have money, you can win. When you don't have money, you lose. What causes that? Is the high demand of our desires.
Thank you, sir.
So, you're what?
Okay. Time is not really on my side. I am afraid that I may pause callers for now. Let me end on this. UBC Ground Zero.
Yes,
And
this gentleman talking about the doctors I mentioned, it hit my minding that the day for Heroes Day, the medals have been given, even business people, they get medals there. some few teachers get medal there. That, you see, on what cause?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Juma. And lastly, the messages will be reading one by one, but let me end with this one. I would love Kano Akiki to explain to me. I really want to understand why they give all those medals, and I don't know. There are different types. I had Narubale medal, Kalangara medal, and I have forgotten about the other three. Who qualifies for which and what are they for? Allow me go back to the studios. Allow me now pause for the calls and messages. I'll be reading or picking if time really allows me, but I'm afraid to pause for now, and I go back to the studios, and I'm starting with you, Kano Akiki.
Thank you. I would start with the very last question, and I think if I'm to discuss the medals, then we shall be here for quite some time. But of course, there is a chancery that was established under the office of the president that sat down and came up with different medals that are awarded to different Ugandans for their participation in different national activities or international activities. There are those which are military, there are those which are civilian. We have the Masaba medal, the Luwero Triangle medal, Narubale medal. Those ones, most of them are military medals. But there are also those who are military, but they are awarded to civilians. Like there are some civilians who participated in the Luwero Triangle liberation struggles, and they have been given some of these medals. And there are several categories. Maybe one day I will come here with a whole book showing you why medal A, B, C is given to someone, because they are always well explained. So it is not something that we can take on now.
I understand.
Probably I can answer all other questions that were directed to me. There is somebody who talked about tear gas. This would be a question that would be well answered by police. But since we jointly work together whenever there are such issues, I can attempt to give a simple response. When you ask why tear gas, you ask why violence becoming a political weapon. When you ask why tear gas being used as a political weapon, ask why violence is being used as a political weapon. If you do your politics well without violence, without interfering with the rights of others, I'm a student of human rights, and this is when we would have a discussion that the point where you violate the rights of others, that is where yours stops. So the best thing is to have clean politics, to do things as guided by the police so that the police do not tear gas you. But if you do to the contrary and the police deems it necessary to tear gas you, and it's better to tear gas or use a baton than using live ammunitions and other methods. But all is as a result of, every action is determined by another action. There is some physics I remember, which I don't want to bring up here. So the best thing is let us all comply with what security guides us to do. The police is a constitutional body, and they have the mandate to protect the people of Uganda against criminal-minded characters, and therefore they only do their job to make sure there is sanity. We only need to take it in good faith and play our role diligently as wananchi to make sure that we all benefit from clean politics and politicking. Military obstruction, we always come in to support police where police thinks that they don't have the numbers and probably the situation is going beyond their capacity. And I want to remind the callers that we are living in also a situation of terrorism. Sometimes you don't know when a terrorist comes in to exploit some of the situations that happen during these activities. So you'll find JAT, which is Joint Anti-Terrorism Task Force, involved. Joint Task Terrorism Force
is a combination of almost all security agencies. But most of these activities are well provided for in our mandate and in the Constitution and other laws that govern the security forces. Someone talked of, I'm sorry I didn't pick the names, of awarding medals. I have said, these days you'll find actually there are very fewer militaries getting medals than civilians. I have it on record. I think the last award we only had like 5 or so, but the majority of them were civilians. So you need just to keep following up when these things are happening so that you don't talk from a point of ignorance, sorry to use the word, but you... And the doctors were awarded medals. Dr. Cheng was given a medal for her role in fighting COVID. Dr. Diana Twina was given a medal. Some 29 medics, I remember, were awarded by different groups for their role in fighting COVID-19. So it's not true. It's not true that the medals are being given to military officers or to a certain group of people. And you remember, like Dr. Matthew Lukuya was recognized for fighting Ebola, and even those who have been given medals posthumously and they are given to their children, we have seen that happen. Somebody talked about crime preventers. Most of these crime preventers who qualified to join the army were given the opportunity to join the army. There are those who didn't qualify and they are doing other things. So their crime preventers were fully utilized and they are serving the country in different capacities. There was a reason why they were recruited, and once that task was finished, they had to be dissolved.
Colonel, there are so many concerns that are coming from the point you mentioned about national service, and one, that's why that crime preventers came in, but also someone here has the same concerns that if we train all the youth in the country and we give them those skills, especially on how to use and operate their guns, are you not worried that this may increase crime rate in the country like it has been in South Africa?
Now let me tell you,
already we have crime rate, and how about if we give them those skills?
I wish there was enough time, my elder here, to explain to us what was the concept of the Mulungusi Club in regards to the national service. National service is a huge thing. Learning how to operate a gun is just to demystify the gun. And what you learn on the gun is like 1% or even less percent than what exactly the gun does and how it is supposed to be operated. But the whole concept of the problem is people think when you go for Chankwanz, what you do is the gun. The time given to learn a gun is very limited, and you really learn the basics. But the bigger part of it, find anybody, is a lot more to learn about your country, about Africa, about other countries, the geography, the geopolitics, the materialism, historical and dialectics, a lot of things, a lot of stuff. So learning a gun is just a minor thing that people sometimes construed to be the reason why national service should be there. It is quite a huge thing.
All right.
There were just 2 other things I wanted to quickly address. One was somebody goes to Chankwanza and comes and still abuses the office. You see, human beings are a complex. And even that's why they are saying that in every big basket of apples, there will always be one apple. But that shouldn't stop us from making sure we keep the good apples and probably even Chiankwanzi could have passed through a person instead of the person passing through Chiankwanzi. Take him back and retour him.
So some officers need to go back.
Absolutely. People should be identified. If they find you were not well grounded, you go back until we get juice out of you. Then my last shot is on the situation in Uganda Matters Day. We are operating a joint security operation for this day. This day is very, very big not only for Uganda but for the world. Hosting 3 million plus people is not easy. You have seen other actors talk, but we have always thwarted any threat to our Matters Day, and we want to assure Ugandans that we have done enough preparations. We have done enough security rehearsals and deployments to make sure that the people can come and pay their homage and do their pilgrimage without a hitch. Any hitch by bad luck that comes in, we are ready to handle it. And we have the capacity. I don't think anybody national and internationally doubts the capacity of the security of Uganda to handle any security situation. That's why you have seen, on top of what we have been doing now, as the people trekking to Namugongo are coming in up to a certain kilometers, they move with security personnel, which was not done before. It means that we have even added other security measures that were not there before because of the different threats that we face every day in this country.
Interesting. Also, someone says, I want to thank Colonel Deo Akiki and the UPDF as institution. Escorting our pilgrims from as soon as they enter Kampala is something that I identified, and it is really heartwarming. So someone gives credit for that. Allow me now bring in Dr. Rwanga, then Professor Chan, especially on the concerns that have been raised by the people of Uganda, and then we shall be wrapping up our discussion.
Thanks, Amon, for this opportunity you are giving me to respond to our callers. I need to thank the people up there who are listening, and indeed they give their views. Baguma indeed wants to have Heroes Day as a real showcase which can be localized in various areas of the country. Yes, it should be possible, but our politics has over-concentrated on top there. And when it goes down, it goes for a specific purpose. But since we have LCs and we have political parties with the structures in the branches, LCs and political parties should accommodate each other and galvanize this issue from the below. And me, I wouldn't even like to have it as Heroes Day. It should have a build-up, okay? From the village, it goes to what to goes until it reaches the national apex. There, it can create a lot of meaning. But of course, our level at the grassroots preparation has never been good. And I think you remember when we had COVID, it was even very difficult to distribute food and to distribute money because of the weak grassroots structure. So this is another calling now that we should have another hero who should come in to organize our villages very well, and we have very good structures. Then, of course, our friend has thanked the UPDF in being in Suja. I would still, at this late hour, say a political solution is much better. Much as we are pushing on with the Suja, we should also push on the Congolese political players to seek a political solution. I think Uganda, much as we fought a 20-year civil war with Alice Lakwena, with Joseph Kony, the contribution of peace talks in Juba with all the actors gave us a relief and opened up northern Uganda, which even DRS also should consider. Then, of course, our friend Timothy Nibusega is more concerned with the issues of tear gas. That why are we tear gassed every now and then? Why are we tear gassed every now and then? Okay, I think our forces, they have already had a call which is part of the constitutional and political reforms which we have made, the electoral reforms. They are saying we should have less in the forces when we are having elections. And that reform is yet to be adopted by the parliament to pass as a law. We need it. There is no any other way. Our brothers in the forces should be there. And the situation of them coming in to fire tear gas, to do what, should also be looked into, that what causes our political fallouts, what causes our campaigns to go violent. We should try to look for more better solutions. Then Ndawula also agrees with the Can Rodeo that we need indeed the national service, and is wondering where the crime preventers did go. I can't tell very much, but I used it to see these crime preventers, and at one time I think they were taken for this training. We needed to study very much how we can improve, how we can enhance our civil security. Yes, people will always have issues, and it is through taxation that the rich get taxed more and the poor get taxed less. With our population census, which we have just conducted, Bernard from Kwanya, it is going to give the government a guideline, a basis by which they can effectively carry out the taxation arrangements. Okay. Then at the same time also, Bernard Kwanya, there is the Uganda People's Congress, which states it that they are fighting poverty, ignorance, and disease as one of the core principles. So if you fall in the category of being poor and you are complaining for the people being poor, then you support our cause. And you support our cause by voting for us.
Dr. Ronga, you're campaigning before the time is due.
I'm not campaigning, I'm just trying to say.
Okay. Many people are raised the concern about the process of selecting and recognizing heroes. We have those that the unsung heroes who have not been brought to books. What changes would you propose for the process of selecting and recognizing heroes on Heroes Day to ensure fairness and inclusivity?
I think if we are to do fairness and inclusivity, we can delegate. We can set up committees and delegate. We say, Muslim community, Uganda Muslim Supreme Council, who are your heroes from the religious angle? Namirembe, Anglican, who are your heroes, okay? Then they come to political parties. And the political parties we also provide, okay? Once we broaden, okay? Even the forces, we ask them, who are your heroes? Because we are not so much involved in activities of the forces. Most of them remain classified. So all right. It is them to come and tell. We can broaden the catchment areas, but some heroes are already known, okay? Like now, if it is Uganda Friends, you know who has helped you to reach that far. If it is boxing, you know who has pulled you out of the ditch.
As we near the celebrations,
yes,
just a week ahead, how can Ugandans convey to celebrate these heroes, and regardless of their political backgrounds, how can we come together on this very important day to foster a sense of national unity and progress, regardless of our backgrounds, color, tribe, political affiliation, and many others? Because it is one of the days that I think we should come together and be on the same page.
I will say something which should help you even to understand this concept of heroes. If you check, there is 27th May 1980, which was known as Heroes Day, and it earmarked the coming back of Dr. Apollo Milton Obote from the second exile in Tanzania. That Heroes Day, much as it was taken to Bushenyi, it was not an affair of the Bushenyi people, it was not an affair of the Ankole people. if you talked to a number of people, people came across various divides, and people came across all the corners, and an element of really celebrating and enjoying was there. Okay. So much as it was during UPC time that we celebrated the 27th May 1980 as Heroes Day, they may try to look at it and reflect the momentum. These days they say the vibe which was there. Okay? They may not have liked some of the aspects.
But it had a vibe.
Yes. But they may not have liked some of the aspects because there is a way it was rotating against, I mean, around our leader.
Thank you,
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Rwanga.
Yes.
Let me bring in Professor Achan. Your responses to the concerns of the people of Uganda, who are part of us from the other side of radio.
Okay. Yeah, I think Amon, as you have put it very clear, one of the things we need to know as we have been going through this issue of hero, we need to know, as somebody was asking, what is the meaning of a hero. I think we have explained. And not only that, there are areas of legacy which I also explained, but one of the key areas which I want to give as a key part of people listening, or our listener, on the issue of the broad-based government. We look at vis-a-vis NRM ideology. Because you see, one of the things which normally make our country not to understand each other, there's a lot of competition. And when we do politics, we avoid, when politics over, we should come one person. That's why you hear people from other districts and other areas calling you and telling you about that confusion. The confusion is selection, the selection of our leaders in the district. I made it very clear to you that when you see a member of parliament is elected as an NRM, the district chair is elected as a NUP, the councillor is elected as a DP. That combination, it is good when politics over. But when politics over, they must now take a manifesto of the party which has won. And one thing which I want to bring you, Amon, is that this ideology of UPC and other people, when they are working together, is to fail this other party who maybe has succeeded. You find that this issue of saying our manifesto is better than others, we should we should not promote that ideology, because that's what is happening in most of the parties. You find that when
but that's the document they use to campaign and
that's
to
why
win votes.
That's why I wanted to put it clear, is that when the government in power has already been shown in the president, and the president has that manifesto, I think that's the manifesto now all the party leaders should use. Okay. And secondly, let the government also take chance to organize those leaders to make sure that they are now not in politics. They have come to administration to implement government program. Then another thing which is very clear is that these people don't know where they belong. When they come for the meeting, maybe the councillors call a meeting, you find they come with their party color. You find the NRM is putting its color, DP is putting color, UPC is putting color to come to implement maybe NRM manifesto. So you find it becoming difficult. So we need to advise them that once you are being elected as the chairman of the district, when you are being elected, we now leave party colors.
Okay. Thank you. Time is not on my side. I would request to give you not parting shots. I would give, if time allows, I will give time for the closing remarks. But let's give way forward. Regarding our topic today, Hail Our Heroes, secured Uganda is now reality, and I will start with Kano on way forward, and you will. I will give you more time later for your parting shots.
The way forward
is, I would say, continued sensitization of our population on some of the benefits of acts of heroism. Because we are not going to stay with the heroes we've had in the very other centuries or other years, and we don't have other modern heroes. Even in the world, we have now what we call modern heroes. And therefore, the way forward is for everyone to strive and make sure that he is a hero of his country, because it is a good attribute.
We're also looking into how UPDF is instilling values of heroism and patriotism and also sacrifice when it comes to your training and values.
Yes, of course, for us right from the word go. Now you're taking me into how even we start recruiting our soldiers, which is a hot topic these days that we can discuss.
And I heard you're also recruiting.
Yes, we are going to recruit. The process is on. But right from the word go, we are actually having a problem of the type of recruits we are attracting these days who are looking for jobs. You see, joining the military institution
is job not opportunities in UPDF?
The jobs are there, but we wouldn't want to make it the core reason as to why somebody joins the army, because there is a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of sacrifice for anybody who joins the army. Mm-hmm. It is only in the institution of the army where you join and the death is your ultimate target, because I mean, that's why you find even insurance companies cannot insure us, because it is like we vow to go and die for this country. And our young people are not looking at that.
Maybe using the same platform, Afande, for someone who is listening to us and would love to join the institution of UPDF, now that there is an opportunity for recruit, what is needed? Maybe someone could join in the next...
Well, there are quite a lot of things that we have put up. One is somebody must be a Ugandan. Somebody must have finished senior 4 between the year 2020 to 2023 and must be between the age of 18 to 22. Somebody must have recommendation from LSC 1, 2, 3, GISO and DISO. And the application letter is written and taken to the RDC's office. There is a form also online which you download and put attached on that form. Those are the two things. Then plus, of course, other academic requirements to prove that you are actually a senior 4 leaver and you passed senior 4, meaning you were able to pass also English and mathematics. Because anybody who fails one of those, I don't know whether the system changed for us. If you failed mathematics or English, it became very difficult for you to get first grade even.
I have recent past, I realized you have put a serious attention on two, English and performance, especially in English and mathematics, but also you have lowered the age.
Yes, there is a reason. There is a reason why we are doing
19
that.
19 to 22 are very young people.
Yes, and indeed we want young people. You repeat it. You know, now the system has changed. We have retirement. We don't want to bring you when you are of a certain age and after short
you're
time.
You're 33 and you're serving.
Before even serving, you're already on retirement and you can't even get anything much. Number two is, what is very important in this recruitment is to insist that we are recruiting fighters, and we are not mincing our words. We are recruiting fighters. If you are recruited in this recruitment, you come and ask us for an office to sit. we shall take you somewhere else. So we are recruiting fighters, those who are ready to come and fight for the cause of our country wherever we have a threat. That's why we are saying young people from 18 to 22. So if you come with your engineers, masters, doctor, this is not the time for recruiting professionals.
Okay.
We recruited enough professionals. I think we recruited consecutively 3 times taking professionals. That's why you see now engineers brigade can take on any national activity, because we have amassed a very good manpower. Whenever we see there is a shortage there, we shall again call professionals. But for now, we are recruiting fighters. And these are the people who can easily make it to heroism, to be heroes of this country, because putting yourself on the line of fire is not something small, and it is one of the starting point for somebody to prove to be a military hero.
Okay. Dr. Rwanga, your closing comments, and Professor Chan will follow.
Thanks very much, Comrade Amoni Butega, for giving me this opportunity to make a closing remarks. My closing remarks are going to be derived from the book of one of the legends, all the heroes of Kenya's politics, Ojinga Odinga, the father of Raila Odinga, in his book, Not Yet Uhuru. There is where he wrote about their independence celebrations, and when they invited Uganda's Prime Minister, Dr. Apollo Milton Obote, to make his celebration remarks. He indeed equated the Kenya's struggle partly with the Algerian struggle, because there was a lot of serious fighting, serious commitment, serious sacrifices. And he saw the Mau Mau in that mode. So he challenged Kenya not to forget the experience of Algerian struggle for independence and their Mau Mau. Once they sacrifice and they move away from the spirit of the Mau Mau, they have buried their country. So today, as we are seeking to understand the heroism, to inspire us as a legacy, as a guiding model, have we really gone back to find out these people who sacrificed and they perished? Are there an enabling environment for their families, for their societies, have they been accepted, or it is a model? Let us reflect back. Kenyans were told to reflect on the Mau Mau. And if they move away from the Mau Mau spirit, we are in trouble.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Rwanga.
Yes.
Christopher, Professor Chan Francis, your closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Amon, to give me this chance of making a closing remarks. First of all, I need to thank all the listeners who take their time to listen us and hear our views on the heroes. One of the things I wanted to put to all the listeners that in Uganda of today, there are two things we are lacking. One, people don't know the difference between politics. People don't know the difference between politics and administration. And that's why from today you pick interest to say what professor is talking about, sociology and anthropology. Sociology is politics. Anthropology is administration. So I appeal to all the listeners, or all category of leaders, should know that to pick interest, what is sociology and what is social anthropology, to make Uganda have a bright future. Because one of the things which I want to bring to your attention is that our president, when he brought the issue of East African Federation, people don't know what is East African Federation. Uganda started the 1 country, 3, now we are going to 9 countries. And people doesn't know what is the objective of His Excellency the President. And that's why you find that when the President was elected the chairman of NAM, now we have gone to East Africa. What is the whole issue? That is social anthropology. That's why when we go East African community, the first thing we are supposed to do is language. That is social anthropology. Then commodities. Then it follows with other aspects. So with these few remarks, I'm trying to put across to the listener.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor Chan Francis, Vice Chancellor of Kenton University. I'll now may end with you, Colonel Dewakiki, as you end our conversation. But as you are giving your way forward, Colonel, someone sent in a message and says, for how long is the exercise going to run? Maybe he wants to join you, but also what is the target number that you are looking at. And maybe as you conclude, I would love also to know how ordinary Ugandans can participate in the Heroes Day celebrations and to contribute to the spirit of the day, and how do you see the celebrations and recognition of Heroes Day evolving in the future? Kano Akeke.
The person who asked about the recruitment, it starts on 1st July and ends on 14th. However, the project started on the 27th and is still on through the office of RDC, so they can continue taking their applications. We are having a problem of people. We advertised in papers and on radios on our Twitter handle, www.updf.go.ug, I think. People should go there and pick most of the information, but people continue to take their applications when they know very well that they don't qualify. You are wasting our time. You have been told between 18 to 22 you are taking there an application. Let me just take there. It's not a good spirit when you are 30 or something. We are recruiting about 906.27 UPDF soldiers, and those who will pass through the requirements will definitely join us, and we welcome them. Lastly is just to invite everybody, to invite Ugandans to come and celebrate with His Excellency the President on Heroes Day in Gomba, at that place you have been advertising, and be proud of their heroes and be proud of their country, and continue to inculcate into themselves that patriotic, nationalistic, and Pan-Africanist urge to serve their country, to contribute on development and growth of this country, because there is no any other country someone will have other than Uganda. Even those who go out and go to the diaspora, they still consider Uganda their home. I can assure you nobody stays in the diaspora who feels that it is all done. At one point or the other, home, they say east or west, home is the best. So I congratulate all Ugandans for coming closer to the Heroes Day and wish them very happy celebrations.
Thank you so much, Kano Deo Akiki, Deputy Defense Spokesperson, UPDF and Modiva, and for making time to come through and educate, inform, and inspire the people of Uganda on UBC Ground Zero platform on 5 radio stations. And also it was a privilege having you, Professor Chan Francis, the social anthropologist, Vice Chancellor, Clinton University, and the proprietor of East African School of Taxation. It was also a privilege and honor having you, Dr. Christopher Wanga, Head of Research and Ideology, coming from Uganda People's Congress, and many those who sent in your messages and called in, and to our dear listener from all the other 5 radio stations, and those who have been part of us online. Many thanks to the team that I worked with, and also to our producers of the program. 3rd June, it is Mother's Day on Monday, and then on Sunday it is Heroes Day. Our Hail Our Heroes, a secure Uganda is now reality. For God and my country, allow me now to sign out.
That was Ground Zero Season 2, a production of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
National Heroes Day of Uganda takes place on 9th June every year to commemorate the brave people who laid down their lives during the Uganda Bush War that took place between 1981 and 1986. This year, the 35th Heroes Day will be commemorated under the theme, Hail Our Heroes, a secure Uganda is now reality. On Sunday 9th June 2024, all roads will lead to Mpenja Church of Uganda Primary School Playgrounds, Mpenja Sub-County in Gomba District. Join us to witness heroes from different parts of the country receive medals to recognize their contributions to the betterment of Uganda from His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who will be the chief guest on National Heroes Day. UBC Radio and all our broadcast networks will broadcast the event live. Happy Heroes Day. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody should. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Don't miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns.
As a country, if we don't fight this vice of corruption seriously and with honest opinion without any bias, things will not be good for us.
UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio.
UBC, ensure that the information you give out is factual but also objective, balanced, and complies with the legal and policy requirements for the media.
Ground Zero program is always live, loud and